Welcome back to BBC News. These are our main headlines. President Zelensky says Kyiv was hit overnight with one of the heaviest Russian attacks since the war began. He's just described his phone call with Donald Trump as very important and substantive.
On Verify today, we have been looking at the latest wave of Russian drone and missile strikes on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv.
Our other headlines: hundreds of people have gathered in Diogo Jota's hometown just east of Porto after the Portuguese footballer died in a car crash along with his brother in Spain yesterday. Meanwhile, the former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson joined thousands of fans who've paid tribute to the footballer outside of Anfield. And Oasis kick off their reunion world tour in Cardiff tonight as thousands of fans turn back the clocks. So let's return to our main story, because President Zelensky's chief of staff has said the Ukrainian leader has spoken by phone to Donald Trump, calling the conversation, quote, very important and substantive. It comes a day after Donald Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin. After that call, Russia carried out one of its biggest bombardments of Ukraine of the war. Overnight, hundreds of drones and missiles struck multiple areas of the Ukrainian capital, killing one person and injuring another 26. Well, BBC Verify's Olga Robinson has been analysing the footage of the aftermath.
This is what parts of the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv looked like on Friday morning following a major Russian attack using drones and missiles. Let's take a closer look at what we have seen. This video was sent to me by a family member earlier. It shows the aftermath of a missile strike on a factory in Kyiv, not far from the city's international airport. You can see a massive crater here, and here a lorry badly damaged, and debris on fire in the background. Damage has been reported across 13 locations in 6 districts in the capital, and you can see them here marked in red. Russia claims that they targeted industrial and military infrastructure, but several videos we have verified show residential areas affected, like this one here, which shows significant damage near a school. Strikes have also been reported in other parts of Ukraine, including the regions of Sumy and Kharkiv in the north. And in Russia, the Defense Ministry has said they have thwarted 48 drones across 5 regions overnight and 14 more this morning. One of the strikes happened here in Sergiev Posad, just outside Moscow. You can see a substation on fire in this video. Russia has been ramping up its attacks on Ukraine for a while now. Last night's strikes were record-breaking in terms of the number of munitions used, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. They say some 550 drones and missiles targeted Ukraine in total, and the attacks have been consistently massive in scale in the past weeks alone. This chart shows the number of drones and missiles used in each of the overnight attacks on Ukraine in June and the beginning of July, as reported by the Ukrainian Air Force. And we can see that in six of these attacks, there were more than 450 drones and missiles used in a single night. The tallest bar here in red shows the number of munitions launched towards Ukraine last night. The timing of the attacks is also significant. They come shortly after the US announced it was halting the delivery of some air defense missiles to Ukraine, and only hours after President Putin told Donald Trump about Russia's intention to continue its war in Ukraine.
Olga Robinson. Now, President Trump's flagship tax and spending plans will be signed into law later today. Donald Trump says the legislation will turn the US into a, quote, rocket ship and give him more power to carry out his promises. Well, the US House of Representatives narrowly passed the bill after only 2 Republicans in the end voted against it. The Democratic Party fiercely opposed it. We'll have more on what is actually in the bill in just a moment or two, but the president had said he wanted the bill on his desk ready for signing by today, the 4th of July, America's Independence Day.
There could be no better birthday present for America than the phenomenal victory we achieved just hours ago when Congress passed the one big, beautiful bill to make America great again. Right? Deport the illegals and slash hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud, and that's what we're doing. With this bill, every major promise I made to the people of Iowa in 2024 became a promise kept. This bill includes the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, the largest border security investment in American history, although I must tell you, if you saw last month, they had 0 people coming through our border, 0.
Well, that was Donald Trump. Let's take a deeper look at what is in what Donald Trump calls the big, beautiful bill. First on tax, it extends cuts President Trump made in 2017, which were due to expire this year, and also legislates new write-offs, such as the removal of taxes on tips, which was a key election promise. It boosts defence spending by hundreds of billions of dollars, including funding for the Golden Dome anti-missile system. It provides extra funding to bolster Homeland Security with $50 billion for new border wall construction and $45 billion for detention facilities. Those are the big spends. As to where the government will actually reduce its budget, Medicaid, the healthcare program relied upon by millions of disabled and low-income Americans, that is one area targeted. Scrapping incentives to transition towards green energy, including for electric vehicles, and also reducing the federal government's contribution to food stamps, putting a greater onus on the individual states. Well, more on that story here in about 20 minutes' time with Gary O'Donoghue live for us in Washington. Let's turn to Greece because firefighters on the Greek island of Crete are in their 3rd day of battling a wildfire that has ravaged forests and olive groves. The blaze began on Wednesday and has forced the evacuation of thousands of residents and approximately 5,000 holidaymakers. Europe has been experiencing an early summer heatwave linked to at least 8 deaths, as Joe Inwood now reports.
For days, the flames have raged, firefighters battling them as best they can on the Greek island of Crete. They started near the village of Aklia, but quickly spread through this rugged, forested island, driven by gale-force winds and high temperatures. This is a popular holiday destination, and many of the 5,000 people who were evacuated were tourists.
The smoke was getting closer to our hotel, and then they evacuated the hotel and they brought us here.
They just told us to leave the hotel with small baggage. We leave the big bags in the hotel and we are waiting now.
More than 200 firefighters were involved, with nearly 50 engines and a drone surveillance unit, as well as helicopters. Despite that, the damage has been extensive, and it's not over yet. I couldn't believe the fire could be put out, says the local mayor, because there were thousands of hotspots all along the length of the community, and unfortunately, the very strong wind didn't allow the fire trucks to operate. And it's not only Crete that is suffering. In Turkey, wildfires are still raging in the province of Izmir, where thousands were forced to flee their homes, and at least 2 people were killed. The country has been suffering from a drought, which, combined with strong winds, has spread the destruction. 6 of the wildfires are said to be under control, but many others are not. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Around the world and across the UK, you are watching BBC News. Welcome back to today's programme. Let's return to that news we were touching upon earlier this hour, that football fans around the world have been expressing their shock and their grief after the death of the Liverpool player Diogo Jota. The 28-year-old was killed along with his brother Andre in that car accident in Spain yesterday. Well, our reporter Jane McCubbin has been speaking to Liverpool fans, sharing their memories and their grief.
Yesterday, Anfield was a sea of red, awash with tears. Amongst the crowd, Rado was being comforted by a stranger, Brian, proving the words of the Red Anthem are taken to heart here.
Here I am right now at Anfield with all the fellow supporters, sharing the pain. It's too much, you know, I breathe.
Never too much, mate. Never too much.
We stick together, we are family.
It's like our anthem. We'll never let anyone walk alone.
Exactly, yeah.
He's up there with the likes of Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley and the 97 we've lost. He's up there now being nurtured.
And Diogo Jota!
And we'll go on and we'll shout his name every game because we'll never forget him.
Never, never.
Where are you, Jane?
Yeah, I'm just outside Anfield right now.
And you can see the crowd behind me there. The head of the Catholic Church in England and Wales would have loved to have paid his respects directly at Anfield.
I mean, speaking to you as a Liverpool fan.
Since I was a child, it's never wavered.
And Diogo Jota!
There was something about a real old-fashioned Liverpool player in him. Absolutely full throttle, never gave up. It's hard to take in, actually, but I know my practice is to ask God for strength and compassion on those who died and strength for the family. There's one good friend of mine who helped prepare Diogo and his wife for their wedding. And he was saying what a wonderful family they were, and dedicated and, you know, clear about the kind of wedding they wanted in the Catholic Church in Porto. And to see that family come into its fullness in a marriage like that, and then to have it smashed, it really is very, very hard to take.
Oh, his name is Diogo. Jota's song has been sung around the world. Recorded by Jamie Webster.
The most has been 70,000 people in Paris, and it's a tragedy. You know, the youngsters in the city, the kids wanting to grow up and be like him. Only just over there in the exhibition centre a couple of months ago, there was 3,500 kids singing his name, and he actually done a video message to them on the day.
Hello everyone at Boss Kids. I heard my song was the most voted for the best song of all of the players. I personally agree with that, so perhaps Jamie can sing it for you guys and you can see it extra loud. We are champions!
I'm just very proud that I got to watch him play, I got to celebrate his goals, and even more proud that I got to sing his name.
The Red Men studio in Liverpool normally transmits team news to fans around the world, but the cameras stopped rolling yesterday.
Ordinarily, you'd be broadcasting, but you sent everybody home today.
Yeah, nobody was in the right headspace. Incomprehensible, I suppose, is maybe a word that sort of describes it quite well. It'll never be forgotten at Liverpool. You know, some of the goals that he's scored, some of the times that he's given us have been the best of our lives as Liverpool fans.
I'm sure everyone has been made aware of the passing of our number 20, and I think it's appropriate that we show our respects.
Last night, a football tournament stopped to applaud the 28-year-old. Among them, the Silva and Rodriguez families, whose relatives are all Portuguese.
After Ronaldo in the striker, Jota is one of our best players in the team, you know, so it's a big shock for the nation.
2 years ago, he was doing his coaching badges with Fabinho and Mata, and he done a session and I had the chance to talk to him.
What was he like?
He's a bit shy. He's just a great human being.
It's Jota!
And people are saying, you know, retiring his number, and I think I agree with it. You've got to do something about it, you know, to recognise what he was.
Anfield has never retired a number in its 133-year history. Many fans here hope that in the face of such tragedy, this number 20 could be the first. Jane McCubbin, BBC News.
Well, just some of the thoughts from so many of the fans that have been going to Anfield. Let me show you the live pictures from Anfield because it continues today, and that number 20, absolutely, you'll see it in so many of the different tributes as the cameras just arc along, and it has become, just as Jane was saying, a sea of red. It just goes on for such a great distance of flowers, of scarves, of various handwritten notes, of balloons, as so many different fans have come to the stadium to pay their respects. It has been a dreadful day and a half since that news first broke yesterday, that it emerged that the player killed in that car crash in Spain alongside his younger brother. And fans ever since that news broke have been going to Anfield to just be there. And of course we saw the former captain Jordan Henderson, one of those who came out today to lay his flowers, to actually look and read other people's messages and to take in and to pay his personal respects. And of course he played alongside Jota for so many years and so successfully. Let me take you back from those pictures live to Portugal, near Porto, because we've seen there the family gathering in Portugal with so many people there, again to pay their respects, to be there. Portugal's president, the Prime Minister there, laying wreaths as the tributes continue to actually be laid and given there to Diogo Jota. Well, let's turn away from that to a completely different story, to India now, and something of a sandal scandal, because last week the high-end fashion house Prada featured a pair of traditional Indian leather slippers in a runway show, but they were labelled as nothing more than leather flat sandals, and that caused uproar in India, where local artisans are calling out the brand for copying their work without giving any credit or financial compensation. Here's Davina Gupta.
On Prada's high-luxury runway, these sleek leather sandals were shown off as the next big thing in fashion. But here in India, they sparked some serious backlash.
Prada's called them luxury footwear without crediting its Indian origin, and that sparked accusations of cultural appropriation. I'm in the western Indian city of Kolhapur, where they've been handcrafted for centuries and get their name from the city and are called Kolhapuri chappals. And unlike Prada's expensive luxury tag, a pair of them just costs about $8.
Across the city, around 5,000 artisans make these sandals by hand in small workshops like this. Most of them come from marginalized communities, and their livelihoods depend on this craft.
We are from a community that works with leather. No one else does this work. I learned to make these sandals when I was young, and the money I earn helps my family.
Artisans here earn around $5 a day and had never heard of Prada. I showed Sadashiv the video of the fashion show and mentioned the potential luxury price tag for these sandals. I can't believe it, he says. Does it have gold that it costs so much? Responding to the controversy, Prada told the BBC it acknowledges the sandals are inspired by traditional Indian footwear and says it is in talks with Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, a trade body which represents local artists.
When it got a label of Prada, definitely the value is increased many folds. We want some share of that profit to be shared with the artisans.
But not all publicity is bad. Shopkeepers like Rohit Gavali have been grappling with high leather costs and a shrinking workforce. They hope this spotlight will help revive their business.
The design which Prada used was less popular here, but now customers are asking for similar sandals, so we are making more of them.
India's Kolhapuri sandals market is worth an estimated $200 million and supports nearly 100,000 workers around the country, many of whom live in challenging conditions. So what Prada does next could decide whether this global buzz can actually lead to real economic change for them. Davina Gupta, BBC News, Kolhapur, India.
Now, let me take you live to Cardiff, show you the pictures there. That's the Principality Stadium, and in just a few hours' time, 16 years after Oasis were last on stage, Liam and Noel will be back there playing their first gig in the Reunion World Tour. There are 41 different shows. This is the first kick-off opening night, and of course preparations already well underway. The BBC is streaming all the build-up to that. There it is, that is already up and running. If you want to see that, you can head to the BBC iPlayer if you're here in the UK. Scan onto that QR code and you can see all the build up to the first gig, and that is in just a few hours' time. You're watching BBC News.
This amazing monument has always held a strange fascination for me. As a teenager, I'd pass by all the time on the train, and it already had iconic status because it featured on the cover of an album by the prog rock band Pink Floyd, except they had a floating inflatable pig above it.
Battersea Power Station was built in the 1930s and continued operations for decades. Today, restorations often need modern commercial approaches to get the go-ahead. And so, after half a century of neglect and failed proposals, eventually, powered by overseas funding, one plan here succeeded. By creating a mix of retail, office, residential and tourism spaces. It opened to the general public in 2023.
You see up there, that is a water indicator. So you've got low water.
Sarah Banham spent nearly 20 years on the redevelopment, trying to balance the often competing needs of the local community, business and historic interest groups.
Right, we're going into one of the most unique and special parts of the power station now. I mean, it always gives me goosebumps when I walk in. It's incredible. So it's Control Room A.
Yeah.
After you.
Whoa, look at this. This is cool.
So it's a real fine example of Art Deco architecture, and yet it's a control room powering London.
This is incredible. I feel like a little boy. I wanted to ask you what all the panels do. It was a really important part of the power supply of London.
20% of London's electricity came from here.
And each of these monitors, dials, whatever,
they would send electricity out to substations. So if we go along here, you can see Carnaby Street, Morton Street. So these are all really large substations in London.
And what would the dials actually be saying?
So they would be balancing the load of electricity that goes out to the substations. And then each generator had to balance the load using a synchroscope.
Right.
And it was incredibly manual. And they had to do it with the handles.
Really?
Looking at the synchroscope. So the synchroscopes would swivel.
Yeah.
And they had to get the dial indicator between fast and slow at the top, using this machinery. And then you remember I said Carnaby Street back down there. So again, just up here, we've got another Carnaby Street too. And that was code for Buckingham Palace.
Oh.
So it also powered Buckingham Palace and the Houses of Parliament.
And would there ever be like power shutdowns in London? Or?
Yeah, the power station never, ever stopped working. And that's through World War II as well.
Wow.
So it was hit by bombs. There was one in this control room, but luckily it didn't go off. And the story is that the Luftwaffe and the British Air Force used the smoke from the chimneys as a signal, and this was a real landmark.
What lessons do you think you've learned about how we preserve our heritage for future generations?
I think the key lesson is working in partnership, but making it fit for the 21st century. At its peak, when we were in construction, we had nearly 4,500 construction workers on site. We had 16 tower cranes just in the power station itself. I mean, it was a huge undertaking.
The Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading. Every weekend on BBC News.
Live from London, this is BBC News. One person has died following the massive overnight drone and missile attack on Kyiv. President Zelensky says he's had a very important and substantive call with President Trump. Hundreds of people are gathering in Diogo Jota's hometown just east of Porto after the Portuguese footballer died in a car crash along with his younger brother in Spain. The former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson joined thousands of fans who've paid tribute to the footballer outside Anfield. Dramatic scenes on the beaches of northern France. Our correspondent is there as police take drastic action to prevent a small boat from setting off to the UK.
So the police now intervening. They've just come in, they've thrashed the boat. They feel it's close enough to the shore so that it's not too dangerous for those on board.
And Oasis kick off their reunion world tour in Cardiff later tonight as thousands of fans turn back the clocks. We'll be live streaming the build-up there in half an hour's time. Hello and welcome to Verified Live. We start in Ukraine because President Zelensky has described a phone call with President Trump earlier as an important and fruitful conversation in which they agreed to work together to strengthen Ukraine's air defences. It's the first time they've spoken since the US suspended important weapons deliveries to Ukraine and follows one of the heaviest overnight air attacks since the conflict started. Let me show you some of the pictures because officials in Kyiv say Russia fired a record 550 drones and 11 missiles that hit almost every district of the capital. It came only hours after Donald Trump had talked to Vladimir Putin by phone, saying he was very disappointed that no progress had been made to end the fighting. President Zelensky said today that large-scale pressure is needed to make Moscow stop its destructive attacks on Ukraine. Well, let's speak to Michael Bossack, who's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Centre. And Michael, great to have you here on the programme. So, Trump asked Putin to end the war and Russia sent a record 550 drones and missiles. Your conclusion?
Yeah, hi, Matthew. Sorry for the congestion. Just for context, I'm on the Odessa side of a checkpoint between the Moldova border and Odessa, often get strikes here. It is not looking good at all. It appears what is happening is all the red lines that Mr. Putin once more or less suspected have vanished because of Mr. Trump's exaggerated statement, pretty much giving him the green light to fire what he wants in Ukraine. If you add to